Welcome, as it's not football time in Tennessee yet, but it's getting pretty close. SEC spring meetings. It was Josh Heupel who was along with Rick Barnes and Danny White visiting with the powers that be in the SEC in Destin, Florida. Coop and I didn't get that gig. We're working on that for next year because we can obviously work on our tans a bit, but we'll see about that. He is Cooper Mays, the Vol Report, with, of course, Cooper, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. A couple of things I want to get into that were discussed at the meetings were a couple of the changes as far as having a headset now with the quarterback like they do with the NFL. Would that help Tennessee and also would it help Tennessee move faster? Would it help their opponents as well? And also a couple of other things, and that is just getting comfortable. A couple of things Josh Heupel said about Nico that I wanted to ask Cooper about. So, Cooper, first of all, how are you, sir?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Good. That intro was a little too long. I want to apologize. Well, would you like if you could, if all 11 could have headphones in their headset in their helmet, would that be a good thing for the college football game for everybody to be on the same page right when the ball snapped?
I think it would be hard to do all 11.
Okay.
I think that would be pretty chaotic. Maybe if like you could some way as a coach like tap into somebody's for like 2 seconds and be like, hey, watch out for this right here. That'd be pretty cool. But if you really had the quarterback, I mean, if you added anybody, you could probably put the center in there. But yeah, I think honestly, just having one is way more of an advantage than we got right now.
So we're kind of getting into your Call of Duty days. I'm imagining Cooper, who's big into Call of Duty, hitting all these buttons about who can talk, and this super. That sounds pretty cool. So, you would like to listen in. Would you even need to talk? I mean, how much would it help you just to be able to listen in, even if you couldn't talk, just to hear what's going on?
In third down situations where it looks get pretty hairy, it probably would help people as far as the centers who are calling the protections. I think that would be pretty big. On the every down situation, probably not as much, honestly. You know, I'm not probably very good at calling plays. I've never tried, but I probably don't know much about what needs to be run.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. You guys like to run the football. You're an offensive lineman. I think it'd fall in line, pretty good. The 2 minute warning is something they're doing, and this just in, they're getting it. They're doing it to get more television commercials in to make more money off of you. So you know that. I know that. But what is what does it say when I put that together with your offense? Because I can see potential where you guys have somebody on the ropes and then, oh, 2 minute warning. What do you think of that?
Um, I don't really know exactly how it will affect us. I know we'll probably game plan a little bit for it. Like have certain. I mean, we go through every. I think I'm pretty sure every college team goes through situations and the rare situations that come up, and we practice those. So I'm sure we'll play it a different way. But I don't know, man. Usually 2 minutes to go in the half or end of game. A break is usually much needed, offense and defense probably. So
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too. You get a break, but does the defense get back some of the advantage? What's the yin and yang there?
I don't know, man. Me personally, I feel like if we're on an equal playing field, I'm taking myself. So if we're both rested up, I think we'll be okay. It's just it only really when it sucks is when you're dead tired and they somehow sneak a sub in and they get a whole new D line that's fresh and you're just dog tired. That's when it really is bad.
Oh, does that happen often, or is that just kind of happenstance? They got lucky or snuck one in, like you said.
Not as much anymore because we've kind of found ways to fix it, but yeah, not as much anymore. My first year here, it used to happen though, and it used to really be upsetting.
Oh, is that when some players maybe were acting injured or something? Maybe is that what you're talking?
No, that gave us all a break. I'm talking about when we're just sitting there and somebody runs off and they get brought in. which we take advantage of it now. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but we make people we usually get penalties for people trying to sub in the middle of our drives now, or we make them get penalties.
You do. That's a pretty smart evolution of the game, not to just sit on your rears and say, "Well, it doesn't work. I'm going to be upset and gripe about it." Right?
Fair enough. I think that's a fair point right there.
Yeah. I mean, you can send all the letters to the SEC you want. Doesn't mean they're going to do anything about it. This way, you do something about it. Not that you might remember the first time, but can you remember how defenses said, "Oh, well, I can't try to pull that off anymore"?
It seemed like it happened my first game against Bowling Green. Our first game playing in this system, man, we were just so tired anyway. So when a new defensive line comes out there, it's just so not like you feel like you're about to get beat or anything, but like it's just like you know how much more fresh they are than you, and it's just so it just hurts. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah. So you guys were able to utilize what a quicker substitution so that they couldn't substitute anybody. Was that kind of the way it worked out?
So how it works is if the offense subs, then the refs have to like it's a mandatory. You have to give the defense a chance to sub, and if they want to sub, they can do it. But they give them enough time to, like, they don't run out there fast or anything, like whatever. But if somebody's trying to sub some people when we haven't subbed, if we haven't subbed and they try to sub some people in, then we can start the play as they're running on the field, and we'll give them a 5 yard penalty because it's illegal substitution. People will be offsides. 12 men on the field.
So you almost had that really changed the game in some sense, right?
Um, I don't know. I mean,
I
we
mean,
might be giving ourselves too much credit on
why
that,
not? I
but
think that to be able to have an answer to that and just not throw your hands in the air, I think is pretty respectable.
it's football, man. Gotta figure out ways to win. It's ever evolving. Really, really, everything changes on a game to game basis, and especially year to year. So, you got to figure out new ways to win every time.
Okay, I have a theory then. Can we go down a little rabbit hole for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay. I have a theory, and I think you guys are a glimpse of that theory because people see you from afar and they see the ball going in the air and they're like, oh, that's cool. They throw the ball 500 times a game. They never run the ball. I'm sure they don't. No, they don't run the ball. I've just seen highlights. I don't know who they are, but you guys do run the ball and you do place an emphasis on that. I believe that with all the passing we've seen, you're going to see a slight evolution, the word we use, back to running the football, and teams are going to power up. My question is, what does that do for a defense who's been able to get away with using a nickelback? Do they go back to having to use a linebacker? I thought that'd be fun to talk some football 101 with you.
Man, I truly think that that probably might be the evolution, is that they get away from the nickel, but I don't know. Even the teams that you don't feel like run well do run well. Like, I think over the last 3 years, like we've actually ran the ball really, really well. Like, I think I mean, even last year, for most of the year, Jay Wright was a 7 yards a carry rusher and had over 1,000 yards last season. Broke multiple, like, 50, 60, 70, 80 yard runs. Um,
No,
but
but
I
see,
think
I do think you guys run well. I was trying to, I guess, tell a little bit of a joke, but
for sure.
you guys run the ball well, kind of quietly. You're not out there
That's
bragging.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. I mean, people really just I think it's just the better you are on offense at throwing the ball. For some reason, people just forget you can run the ball. Because even when we were in 2022, when we had all the year that everybody thought that we just passed it around all the time, which, yeah, we did. We had a great time passing the ball, but I mean, we ran just as efficiently as this year.
Hmm.
Like, and most people think that we ran very well this year. We ran very well that year and the year after. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of what people see in the highlights, probably, is what they think more.
No, I think so. I think the secret's probably getting out. So I think if somebody tries to copy you guys, they'll know that. It's funny that back in the day, coaching staffs, like let's say a Tennessee, would welcome in. I'm just picking a random school, University of South Florida, to come in and visit, and you can take a look at what we do. There's none of that anymore because you're not sharing any secrets. I don't think Josh Heupel is saying the University of Southwest Iowa could come in and visit for a week. That's not going
Yeah,
to happen.
no sir.
No, the Vol Report with Cooper Mays brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, City Heat and Air. City Heating and Air Conditioning, you got to love them because integrity matters. And when they show up, they're not going to say you need a new unit just because they can sell you a new unit. They're going to say, hey there, how about this? We might be able to use some Freon. We might be able to use a part and get your unit fixed and save you a lot of money. That's City Heat and Air, City Heating and Air Conditioning. They've got about 8 trucks. They're big, but it's the integrity aspect of it that I want you to be mindful of because they'll take care of you. Josh Heupel said something to Jimmy Himes, who was there for us in the Sports Animal, and he said something that I thought was interesting. He said he felt like Nico got it during bowl practice. Did you have that sense at all that kind of being the guy for a while helped maybe push him into that leadership role in which he was very comfortable with?
I think it was big for his confidence, and that in turn kind of makes you feel that way. Just nothing really does college football justice and playing college football justice until you've played. Even sitting on the sideline, you don't really understand it. Um, you got to be out there and do it, and that's the only way to build your confidence up, and that's the only way to get where you want to go is by actually doing it. So I think the bowl game was probably where Nico realized he fit in and belonged. I mean, everybody thinks they belong and fit in and should play and everything, but you never really know for certain until you play. So I'm sure it did wonders for his confidence. I haven't really talked to him about it, but just seeing him operate, it seems if that's the case.
Yeah, he seemed to play pretty well, and I just wonder if there's that moment that you see that frequently that guys it kind of locks in, and maybe you remember it happening with you where it's just like I can play this game, I can handle this. This is very doable, and not only can I handle it, but I can excel, not just get by, but I can excel, and I'm wondering if that happened with you, you see that happen with other players. What's that like?
Oh man, I I, I didn't really realize it as much because I don't know. I didn't really realize it was like super hard and rare for freshmen to play, especially at O line and kind of understand what they're doing. I didn't realize kind of how rare that was. So I didn't really realize what I was. Yeah,
That's
I didn't.
really rare.
Yeah, well, I didn't really understand that because my older brother started like 8 games at Georgia as a freshman, and Georgia at that time, like, I mean, you could probably still argue it. Like, they had the best offensive line in college football. Like, it was kind of hands down. Georgia was the best in college football at that point. So for Cade to go in there and start like 8 games or whatever, and he started games at guard and tackle, pretty crazy, super rare. But I didn't really realize that. So when I came in and started doing well, people would talk to me, coaches would talk to me and tell me how good I was doing. But I didn't really realize what it took to do that, especially coming off of foot surgery. So I don't know. I definitely was doing my part, but I didn't realize that I was doing anything crazy until I started a couple games and got to feel it and kind of realized how hard it was to play at this level. But kind of my freshman year, just the whole thing. I think the biggest compliment for me my freshman year was that I couldn't start. Like, I wasn't good enough to start, but the coaches thought I was good enough that they had to have me out on the field. So I would play that extra tight end, like the heavy tight end stuff.
Hmm.
A lot of people get upset about not starting and not having the role that they want, but just getting on the field was big for me. I just wanted to play anywhere. So they felt like I was good enough. They had to find a spot for me. So I thought that was super cool. That was probably the one thing that stuck out to me in that moment.
in this day and age of guys negotiating NIL deals and probably playing time deals, yes, that's very refreshing. That just getting on the field for your hometown school was meant something for you. Absolutely, he is the one, the only Cooper Mays. The Vol Report brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. For Cooper, I'm Dave Hooker. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.